and just taking a few notes. Okay, is that all right for everybody? Any questions? Lovely. Okay, I'll disappear.
Do you want me to share the PowerPoint?
Yes, please.
1 sec. Can everyone see that?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Myself and Emily read Community and Identity and spoke at the social theory of learning and how we separated into 4 parts. And it comes down to experience and our life experiences. Resources that are shared within frameworks and support. Community about the social configurations which our enterprises are defined as. And identity, which is who we are, how we change within the context of our communities. We discovered that identity is not a static thing and it changes throughout, and we pick certain elements out of it to then create a a professional identity, but it's such a diverse entity. And your community of practice, which is part of a social theory by Wenger in '98, says how community of practice can be lost within higher education due to the fact that teaching is mainly a solitary endeavour. Sadie, would you like to do yours?
Mine wasn't next, was it? Who did this one?
Oh, Tanya, sorry.
Oh.
Tanya, you're on mute.
How embarrassing, sorry. So we looked at embodied reflection and epistemology, I think that's right, of reflective practice. So it spoke largely of, I think it's Scone. Scone's work is really prevalent within education, but not widely understood, and what kind of other theories underpin his work. So it was underpinned by dualism and tactic knowledge. Dualism is argued by a role not to be an object, but something personified, so it's within you. Tactic knowledge cannot be put into words, so like not explained, but only learned through behaviours. Like we behave in a certain way, but can't really explain how or why we do it. But the art of reflection kind of makes that knowledge, that tactic knowledge, explicit, like meaningful, being able to explain and reflect and move forward. Scone also argues that tactic knowledge also comes from your prior knowledge. And the dualism theory kind of argues that the mind and the body work together, like they're one, and can't be separated. So you can't have kind of one without the other. So dualism and tactic knowledge are kind of equal. So you can't have one without the other, and they both kind of marry and underpin each other, which is not kind of, so we kind of do it within our practice as educators, but we don't kind of understand the ethos behind it.
Okay, are you done? I'll go into mine.
Yeah.
Okay. I read about reflective practice, writing and professional development, and basically the summary that I got from most of the text is that how reflective practice is constantly ongoing in both like our personal lives and professional lives, because it's how we learn as people, and it can lead to discovery and development as people and with our personal values. We learn by doing and experiencing things and using trial and error. And teaching identity is built on personal values, beliefs and personalities that are built on our own life experiences, and this affects how we reflect, and it's vital in a teaching career. And this also, Vanda said that it links to community of practice as well. And reflecting is something that it doesn't always come easily. It's a brave thing to do, and it can show vulnerability. But to not reflect can alienate students, because it just leads you to not improve on your teaching yourself, and it can lead to just not accommodating their own individual learning needs. The beginning of reflection is often done subconsciously, and reflection in action takes place during an action, which enables us to display knowledge, skills and experience that we have gained. And then reflection on action is reflecting after the event, and it increases the effectiveness of reflection in action, which is done before.
You want to do this one, Emily?
So at the end, we just sort of like looked at how each topic that we looked at links to the others, and we think that the reflective practice links to Wenger's community and identity and social theory. And as it explains that we're not taught necessarily by teachers, but we learn more from our experiences, identities and communities. Like we said in ours, the communities of practice some examples are like your work environment, your home environment, your friend environment, and how that can impact you and your own experiences. As well, reflection is done by our knowledge, skills and experiences, and it's not something that's taught to us, but we learn by it, we learn from it how we can reflect, what we do to reflect. And identity is built upon many of our experiences. And one thing that me and Vanda found was that identity can't necessarily be labelled because it's so diverse. So you could say, like, I could identify as a dancer because that's what I do, but there's so many other identities that make me who I am, as cringy as that sounds, but it's how they all can impact you and your own experience, as bring that into your own classroom as well, and how that can help you to teach people of all different diversities and identities, and it helps you to really understand them and know some of what they might need from you as a teacher. It also says that we reflect due to our different experiences, values and beliefs. I think that's something that we all do because we can learn from other people's experiences, values and beliefs as well. And it will help us to progress as teachers as we're always expanding experience and knowledge. So yeah, that's me done. I think that's our group done.
Just a very quick feedback from me, and I'm sure Sandy will say something before moving on to the next group, but I thought that's absolutely fabulous. Insightful, high level of synthesis, impressive start, so absolutely fantastic. I like the idea that you highlighted a very challenging concept of tacit knowledge, that knowledge that we have and we hold and we display and we enact, but it's who we are in our presence that you can't always pin down to explain why you feel or experience the world the way that you do, but it is a form of knowledge that brings you into presence, that you're in that space. And I thought that was really lovely that you talk about how our personal values and how we see the world and see the world of others through that tacit knowledge comes into the classroom or comes into teaching, even though identity, as Emily was saying, is very difficult to pin down. And that's why we call this the sort of constructing self and identity, because you'll have multiple identities, as Emily said, but realistically, rather than focusing on the identity of being a teacher, it's, am I the teacher I desire to be when in tacit and beliefs and values my words and deeds speak in harmony? And I think that's really good because it links back to why we did the learning autobiographies, what we've learned through experience along the way. Absolutely stunning first presentation, well done. Sandy?
Yeah, I just like, yes, absolutely, Julie, totally agree with you. And for me, the point about the tacit knowledge is the fact that once you've identified it, it is no longer tacit. But you have to be aware of the possibility of that tacit knowledge in order to notice it and to bring that into your own understanding of how you are looking at things in comparison to maybe how your peers might see things or your students might experience things. And that's so important. That awareness, that self-awareness is really key to developing your identity as you want it to be. As a teacher, the teacher you want to be, not just the teacher that comes out of the sort of sausage factory at the end. It's bringing your whole self to it. And I love the point that you made about the multi-identity, the fact that you have a different identity or persona depending on your situation. And I think that, you know, it at this point it is all about awareness. It's awareness that these things exist and affect you and make you appear in different ways, and have the ability for you to then say, I see what's going on here, and then being able to adapt yourself, change your views, change your ideas, develop yourself into the you that you want to be. And I think that's lovely, and it came across very strongly in your presentation. So well done, girls. That was absolutely fantastic. Super. Thank you. Do you want to stop